Hey, Gabriel,
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
where are we today?
We are still at our stupid fucking apartments.
But we had a chance a couple of days ago of actually recording outdoors.
We did, and then I didn't watch the movie we were supposed to watch, and then the place that we went wasn't requiring masks,
Mm-hmm.
and so we just decided to drink in a different place that was safer and
Mm-hmm.
didn't talk about network.
We certainly did not. But yeah, some things are starting to open, from the perspective that is becoming a reality or, like a possibility that just meeting up outside of a bar in an outdoor drinking area and just talking. So we may need to explore that soon.
I cannot wait for the Eagle to open. I can't wait. I don't know why they haven't opened before. They have a huge patio, a huge patio.
Yeah, I think that I don't know what is the reasoning. Honestly, I don't know. I think that is like just they are aware the gay people will be terrible if given the opportunity. And it's like if we open, no one is going to be respecting the distances. No one is going to be respecting like the maximum capacity of the venue, and this is going to be a train wreck. Is that we're going to be starting like another wave of
But when
coronavirus
I would
destined
go
for.
on like Thursdays at 4:30 p.m., it was me and two other people. That sounds like a business that can open.
And the other people will be Troy. Well, the
Yes,
two people.
Troy
And
was the
probably
most important attendee.
yeah, and probably the other one would be the guy that always reads in the corner.
That keeps
The,
taking my picture surreptitiously.
oh, that's right. Yeah, the one that likes the magicians. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Okay. So what did we watch today?
We watched, hold on, I don't think I know the year, 1976, the Sidney Lumet film and classic Network.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that this was my pick, and the reason why I picked it was because I watched this movie pretty close to Joseph Losey The Servant, and I remember that I like both of them. And I was surprised about like how good the Servant was after this many years, and I felt like, wow, it's actually significantly better than even I remember. So I was wondering how Network had aged from 15 years ago to now, because I don't remember too much about the story.
So 15 years ago is the last time you saw it. So like circa 2005, 2006.
Yeah, I think that it was just checking one of these lists of the best directors ever, and Sidney Lumet was there. And I was surprised that the only movie that I had watched of him back then was 12 Angry Men. And, well, no, sorry, I also watched like Dog Day after that.
So you would have been approximately 24, 25 when you saw
Yeah,
this. Okay.
yeah. I was like
So
a
I had
student.
not seen this film
Gotcha.
at all before. This was the first time
Hmm.
for me. And then, wait, he didn't direct Joker, right?
No, he was dead at that point.
On his IMDb page, this is Sidney Lumet's IMDb page, and it's Joker on the cover.
That's bizarre. I mean, if I check his page, oh yeah, that you're right. Why is that there? Why is he involved in Joker in kind of way? I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, Robert De Niro is there. Robert De Niro was also in some of his movies.
So the last film he did before he died was Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, which
Yeah,
I've seen, you have not.
I am
And
not.
it's a mind-blowingly good film
Oh,
starring Philip Seymour Hoffman as a heroin addict
only for hope.
and his brother Ethan Hawke. And as I recall, they plan to kill their parents for money. Anyway, not to get distracted.
Wow. Okay. So you would recommend watching that one?
Oh, for sure. As I remember, and I saw that film in theater, so it was 13 years ago. I thought it was fantastic. But I'm looking. I mean, he's a pretty prolific director. I think I did see The Verdict from '82. Oh, he did a film version of Equus, the play that Daniel Radcliffe did where he appeared nude on Broadway.
Oh, hmm,
That was his film right after Network, which we watched.
huh. Okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Isn't Serpico like fairly famous?
It is. And he did the original Murder on the Orient Express.
Huh. And you watched 12 Angry Men. Or
I
you watched
watched
the
what?
you watched 12 Angry Men, or did you
I
watch
did.
the Russian version?
I saw 12, which was the Russian version, which was fucking incredible. 12 Angry Men was awesome. I saw the Amy Schumer 12 Angry Men, which was even better than both of those.
Combined. It
But I don't see anything else on his list that I've seen.
was that he did for a while some TV, and not well. He started with TV, and the first real movie that he did was 12 Angry Men, and then he went back to TV for a while. Yeah, so there's like a lot of TV. Like probably TV was not a degradation for a Hollywood, like personality back then.
So it's been, how old am I? 35. So it's been 15, 14 years since I've seen 12 Angry Men. But as I recall, that's almost a perfect film.
Yeah, I watched it like twice or three times, and it's like a really, really good movie that I think that it still aged pretty well.
All right. So
So
that's it from his filmography that I've seen.
he actually did a remake or a loosely adaptation of Rashomon in 1960
Ah,
as a TV movie
good Lord.
that I feel like why would you have the need of remaking that?
So I feel like I don't know how I feel about him as a director.
Hmm, well,
I love 12 Angry Men, but because he's made 75 other pieces and I haven't seen any of them. Oh, wait, didn't you and I watch The Appointment?
what
No.
is the point?
Lawyer Federico Fendi has reason to believe that his wife Carla, in secret, is Rome's highest paid prostitute. Maybe we should watch that next.
Yeah, so something like Belle de Jour.
Something like it.
That's interesting. I don't know. I've been more interested on watching more movies of him, but as you actually watch already, like more than three or more, it's like it doesn't look like he has a specific style.
Yeah, that's true. It's not like he has like a Tony Scott or a Quentin Tarantino,
Yeah.
like, oh, this is Sidney Lumet, at least as far as we understand. But again, we haven't seen many of his films.
No, that's true. And maybe he actually his style evolved over time, and he tried to just adapt his sensibilities to the sensibilities of the time.
And to be frank, I mean, 12 Angry Men, Network, not to give anything away, and
Before
Before the
Devil
Devil Knows You're Dead, they've all been fantastic films. So maybe he's just, for me, an undiscovered gem.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the thing is that, for example, we're talking about like a style. Can you think about a director that he has like a very, very distinguished style, that style eventually doesn't wear out or starts feeling thin? Because like, from time to time with Tarantino, it's like some of the movies they feel like, okay, it's okay, but
Ingmar Bergman, 100%. His style will
okay,
never go out of style.
okay,
So good. I've seen 26 of his films, and it never gets old.
okay. I mean, I would say that, for example, with Almodovar, he evolved his style. It's not the same style as in the beginning. He became
You're
like great
accurate, but I feel like his style has devolved, and the stuff he makes now isn't as interesting as the stuff he made in the 80s and 90s.
from Almodovar.
That's what I would say.
So you didn't like the last one?
I I did like the last one, but if you think of something like Broken Embraces,
No, you're trolling me.
but what I'm saying is he moved from this like super gritty, these are transsexual women trying to relate to their mothers, which was very interesting. And
Hmm.
now he's just obsessed with Penelope Cruz and high heels. It's not exactly.
But but Penelope Cruz is oh, sure. I mean, Penelope Cruz is in Pain and Glory, but I don't know, man. I mean, I just feel like Pain and Glory feels like significantly more sophisticated. I was talking with someone the other day, and he was telling me that, oh, I love John Waters. And there's something that I didn't realize is that actually Pedro Almodovar, when he started, he was super crass. Is that his first three, four films are Yeah, they're like super, super dark, but super dark in a way that is like this is just gross. In the first
But
movie, in Pepe Lucy Bon, for example, one of the girls pees on another one of them.
okay, but tell me, so all about my mother, talk to her, bad education. Tell me how those compare to Broken Embraces, The Skin I Live In, and I'm So Excited.
Look, Broken Embraces. The thing with Almodovar, usually he has like a good movie and then another one that is like not that good. For example, Kika is not that good, but High Heels is amazing. Tacones Lejanos. I don't know why they translated to High Heels. And The Flower
It's
of My
also important to
Chickens.
understand that I didn't like Voltaire and you did. So for
I
me, there's
love
this like
Volver.
15-year
Yeah,
gap of him producing anything
yeah.
interesting except I'm So Excited, which was brilliant.
Broken Embraces was incredibly bad. It was like just
Yeah, it was
such.
super bad.
Is a look. It's probably like Mother for Aronofsky. It's like you spend just a day writing this script because you never actually just make a second pass to it.
Also, I
Uh,
took my brand new African American stepfather to see Broken Embraces, just me and him,
yeah.
in the theater when we had first just met, and I remember being so uncomfortable. I was like, "This is so bad. I can't believe I brought him to this."
Yeah, that was a bad movie. It's like usually he has like a good one and a bad one. It's like Bad Education supposedly is not a good one. It's not, at the level of the good ones. Volver is a movie that I love. The Skin I Live In is I still don't get it. The premise is not bad, but it's a short. Is that the material that you have there in the original story is something that you could have done as a short. You don't need like a 90 minutes movie for this.
Shorts don't make any money, Jose.
I know, but it's that they don't do
Almodovar
this
needs
a
to get
movie.
paid. I,
Sure. I'm so excited. He was like just trying to recapture the crazy feeling of his first movies. And I think that was a complete train wreck. And not the kind of train wreck that is enjoyable to watch. Just like, no, no, this is not how it works. Did you watch Julieta?
yeah,
Did you
and
like it?
we talked about that, and I liked it a lot. It was a little bit disappointing. That was the one about the daughter joining a cult, right? And then the
Yeah.
mother trying to save her.
Yeah, but the problem that I have with that one is like the same as with the skin I live in is that both of them they're not his scripts. He actually took some stories and he combined them into just a single story. So you can see that with Julieta, it starts with her being young, then just being, like just giving birth, and then the story of trying to find the daughter is that he actually combined those three independent stories into just a single narrative. And it's like, I just feel like it's a bit disjointed. It's not bad, but it's like I felt like, well, it's not terrible, but it's not his best. But I think that Pain and Glory is good. It's a
No,
really
Pain
good
and
movie.
Glory is my favorite Almodovar film. It's my favorite one. It's so
Wow.
good.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that for me it's all about my mother. I love that movie. I watched it like so many times. And I hate that it takes place in Barcelona. But
I never paid attention to Almodovar's older, like quote unquote, older films until you gifted me one for my birthday.
and that was all about my mother, I think.
You gave me that one, and that prompted me to look into others.
Did you watch Woman on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown?
Yes, because you asked me to.
And you like it, no?
I did. Yeah, that was a
Okay.
very good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's extremely absurd. He also has like a bit more. It's not really crass, but it's like it's extremely absurd humor.
It's that older style that he had that was like, hey, life's fucking messy. This is
Yeah,
what life is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, but it actually works, But then now when you try to translate that humor or that situations from the 80s to 2010s to the 10s, like in I'm So Excited, when they throw the phone through the window, I don't know if you remember, and it falls in the basket in the bicycle basket of the ex-girlfriend of one of the guys. Like, what is it? Just so absurd, but it's not absurd in a, like a funny kind of way. So in any
The
case,
scene that stands up from that movie is when the two pilots, there's the super masculine one who's getting blown by the other pilot, and the more effeminate one is in touch with that guy's wife, and they've arranged their relationship. And I was like, oh God. Oh,
Yeah, it almost feels like, I don't know, like a movie from the 70s trying to talk about sexual liberation,
yes.
but made by Disney. So it's a bit more like, no, or like your parents trying to talk about sexual liberation and they say, no, I think that they're like better
Stop that.
sources.
Stop it.
Yeah, please, this is just close working. So yeah, but in any case, we didn't watch an Almodovar movie. I don't know
We
exactly
did not.
how. Yeah, I don't know exactly how we got here, but we should actually watch one of the of his movies soon. So I just mentioned why I pick it. So what is it about? What is Network about?
The network is about, uh, it's hard to describe. So there's like an old school journalist, a news anchor on television on the worst ranked network in America. And he's getting fired because of low ratings. And so on one of his last episodes of where he performs the news, he says that he's going to blow his brains out, which obviously is a fireable offense. But then the public goes crazy and it increases the network's rating. So then the network decides to use his essentially a mental breakdown, I think. They use him for ratings and he rises again to stardom, quote unquote, saves the network. But then the network just feeds on his crisis and eventually he falls again. And it's about all the people behind the scenes who want to use him and manipulate him and how I don't know. I don't even know how to go on and on about this.
Yeah, I mean, the other day someone was asking me, "Oh, what movie are you watching?" I said, "Oh, I'm watching Network from 1976," and he asked me, "Oh, what is it about?" And how I define it is like basically a network that is in shambles, a TV network, and they are trying to figure it out how far they can go for getting audience. Because the part with all the terrorists, like the terrorist group is like, it's so absurd, but at the same time, it actually just depicts it's like, well, if the first part, with the crazy mad prophet would work, why not pushing it a bit further?
And so Faye Dunaway stars in this film, and she plays a vice president of programming, but she feels like more of a producer, and she
Yeah,
has this insight into the American audience, and she's like, we cannot have conventional programming anymore. We need to have basically modern day reality TV. That's what
yeah,
she sees as the people wanting.
yeah,
And it is what people want. And she gets the ratings and the network goes crazy.
yeah.
And it was horrifying thinking about this movie in 1976 and how today we have a president who's a reality TV star.
Yeah.
It was way too relevant. It really disturbed me. It upset me so many
Yeah,
times.
that was one of the things that like a part of me was thinking is that, well, this is a bit more like a 70s version of Fight Club from the perspective is like reality, like even the distances, but from the perspective that is like it's trying to tap into a discontent American society that it has become dormant.
Yeah, and it has the context of boy, are they anti-Arab in this film. The Arabs are raising the oil prices. There are these like
Yeah.
sects, the same sort of sects that kidnapped Patty Hearst in San Francisco in the 70s. Uh, it, it's just, yeah, it was hard to watch because it felt so relevant. I don't know.
That's interesting.
Did it did it resonate with you as a non-American in that way?
It resonated in a different kind of way. It's like I actually thought that, okay, I understand the kind of reality that they are portraying, but I didn't grow up here. So I can understand that most of it felt realistic until they started becoming like a bit more absurd, like the scenes when they are on the ranch with the terrorists and they have like 7 lawyers like reading the contract. That is okay. This is just pure absurd, like pure absurdance. But I get it. I get like the points that they're trying to make. It resonated from the perspective that is like basically the TV that we have nowadays. If it's closer than it should to what is the absurd reality that they portray there.
Yeah, it's basically what this film predicted is now what we live with the Kardashians and the absurd reality TV. Um,
But
yeah,
but there is like a big difference. There is like a really big difference that is like nowadays, and especially for following generations, that they're like way more connected into the internet. there is one sentence that they repeat like 3 or 4 times. That is like, why should I be the one like bringing this truth to the people? You know, and it's like, because you are on TV, dummy. It's like, I think that right now TV is not that relevant. It's a bit more like about social media. So you can be your own crazy prophet, but it's like anyone can be that crazy prophet. That's the part that is like, just when I portray to nowadays, it's like I feel that the message with the range TV for just getting here because of the ratings is true. But at the same time, it's like we are not going to be living on that reality because we're moving towards. I mean, Trump, for example, I had the feeling that it's more impactful not only what he says in the White House, but also what he tweets. And I think that that's going to be like becoming more of a trend as the year passes by.
I agree with you that like quote unquote new media has made network a little bit obsolete.
Yeah.
But if you take away new media and you look at the state of
Oh yeah.
television now, I mean it's exactly what network predicted.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I think that it's extremely forward thinking. It's true that it just crosses the line. There were like some points that I was like, okay, this movie just dances a thin line between being poignant and being absurd. Like I just embracing like the absurd comedy almost.
And I loved this film, just to put it out there. One of the things that I loved about it is that it starts out as a very straightforward
Yep.
drama, and it gets so absurd, but it's almost like the frog in the boiling water, is that you
Yep.
don't realize how absurd it gets until
Yeah.
that final scene where they just agree to have Howard murdered
Yep.
on screen. And I was like, holy shit, this is the greatest ending of any movie ever.
Yep. Yeah. How they actually just start like that meeting with all of them. And there's like
Right.
one that actually one doesn't talk. That is like it's probably the only still that is like just grasp into reality about like what are we doing? But like someone, I think that is like fade down when they say that. Okay, so just to be clear, we are agreeing that we're going to be killing this guy in the
And
air.
then the president of the network is like, we're talking about a capital crime. Are we sure we want to do this? And they're like, yep, we can get great ratings.
Yeah.
And that's the moment I realized the water was boiling, and somehow I didn't notice. But I did find a lot of humor throughout.
Yeah.
Um, and the performances, my God, they were all so good and so
Yeah.
realistic. I loved it.
Yeah. There was one of the parts like I don't know if you will like it or not because it was like, okay, it looks like the 70s when the method started to just become predominant. And I felt like
Method acting.
the method actor, so I just felt like the acting was never too over exaggerated. For example, I love the story of the director of the news that he gets fired. I don't know what was his name, Max, I think.
The one who ends up
Max,
with Faye Dunaway as a love
exactly.
interest. Yeah.
Yeah, is I love that story about like how they actually displayed, and how like the interaction with both of them. I love the scene where they're having sex and Faith and we cannot stop talking about the problem.
Oh my gosh, that made me so uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I love the scene when Max is talking with his wife about like, yeah, I fell in love with her. Well, I fell in love. I just, having an affair with this girl and how she actually reacts to it. I feel like, wow, she has only been in this scene. She has been like a background character, and this is the only scene that matters for her. And it's like, it's good. I care. I believe this character. I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah, there are like a lot of characters on this, but it doesn't feel like they're like just detached from the story. It's like all of them, they're like just living this kind of breakdown of society that is happening in their own ways.
So tell me, okay, I love the performances. I love the movie. How did you feel about the script writing?
That look, when I was watching, I wasn't completely sure you were going to like it or not. I liked it as much as I like it originally because I think that is not subtle. This
It's not
movie
subtle at
is not
all.
subtle at all. It's like when you have like the ending is like this terrorist group like just standing up and shooting him live on TV. It's like, yeah, this was not, an allegorical ending. It's like it's pretty to your face kind of thing that is happening here. So from that perspective, I felt like comparing it one again with The Servant, is that The Servant felt like extremely sophisticated film from the script and everything else. This felt like a bit more blunt, but I think that it actually works. I think that it
It does
actually is.
work, yeah.
it's true that sometimes it may have like a bit more of melodrama that you know that I don't have any kind of problem with it, and I think that's the reason why I'm like, I don't know if like it's going to be like in this or not, but I think that it actually suits because it talks about television. You know, it talks a bit more like even when he's describing. I love the wording that Mac's character uses for describing the affair with Faye Dunaway about like she has a script. It's like actually a relationship is a program that she's like just envisioning in her mind. This is going to be like changing the script, it's going to be like moving. And I felt like that's an amazing metaphor about like just defining like the kind of relationship that you're going to have with someone, especially when that someone works on television and that's the only thing good that they can do. The only thing that they can do good.
Yeah, so I agree with you. It's a great metaphor. One of the final scenes with that fired reporter and Faye Dunaway when he's like, "You are television personified. Nothing matters to you that's real."
Yeah.
It's true, but I feel like the film lost some of its gravitas by calling out its own metaphor, saying, "Your television. Do you get it, audience? Your television."
Well, but they mention like multiple times, you know, it's like I think that when she actually says that the only thing that I'm good at is at television, so I breathe television. I don't know if she says I breathe television, but it's pretty clear that that's the only thing they can think about. Everything else is an
She says that
accessory to their
she's
life.
completely inept at everything in her life except her job, which she's very good at.
Yeah. So, and she actually does breathe it when she's having sex and she cannot stop talking with it. And it's like,
Oh
it's
my
pretty
God, I
clear.
wanted to slap her. I wanted
Yeah.
to slap her so bad.
That point is like Max's infatuation is basically a combination between like, this young woman, you know, that is like, she doesn't look that young. I don't know why. And she actually
She does
mentioned like
not.
multiple times, you know, like, oh, you're with a young woman. Is it who? Oh,
No.
you. And the other part is that he's also like just getting out of touch with what television is nowadays. And probably for him, it's also like a way of just still like just grasping that, like just clinch to the idea of this is television. I was good at this. So I want to just be in contact with that through this woman.
They also kept calling Max a middle-aged man, and I was like, "You are at least
Well,
60. Like,
yeah.
what is happening?" So did the script remind you of any popular modern-day scriptwriter working today?
I don't know. Who do you have in mind?
So again, I liked the movie, but some of those like monologues were way too Aaron
Oh, holy shit, not
Sorkin-esque.
go to Aaron Sorkin. I thought about Aaron Sorkin for a moment, you know, but
I
it's
just
not moralist. It's not trying to take a higher stand.
Yeah, but that scriptwriter was very impressed with his knowledge of current events, and the monologues went on so much that I was like, "Fuck you, Aaron Sorkin. I'm never gonna watch The Social Network again."
I agree with that part. The social network, it was like just like, okay, David Fincher, you did a good job. Aaron Sorkin, please don't write anymore.
So
But
who wrote the script? Let me see.
screenplay Patty Chase, so
Yes.
probably he's not related to that to anyone else. He wrote The Hospital, Marty, Alter Stage, Middle of the Night.
So nothing recently.
Alter Stage, Marty, The Hospital. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know any of
nothing
these.
else. The Way We Were, that sounds familiar, but I don't know it.
Yeah. No, I honestly I like the script. I can understand the kind of okay, they had these ongoing conversations that everyone is like to the point, presenting like these kind of elaborated ideas. Like for example, when the Max is describing his love for Faith Dunaway as the script, I feel like I don't think that anyone could come with an idea like that, like just out of the blue, when you're
See,
having like
for
a
me,
heated discussion.
I was trying to count the number of times companies were named by name, either in Harold's monologues or the president of the network talking about the DuPonts, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I get it. Like 2 hours and 7 minutes, I've heard enough metaphors and allegories. I get it.
But I actually thought about it when Faye Dunaway was talking about like different programs and the likes. And
Different what?
like different programs, you know, like different TV shows from other
Yeah.
network TVs. When he said, "Oh yeah, we're going to be competing with ABC's The House in the Prairie. And we're going to be like NBC has this, and the Bionic Man, and the Bionic Woman, and the $6 million Man, all that kind of stuff." When they are discussing this, I think that is a way of connecting the audience and just making the film more verosimil, you know, like making about, okay, what about if in this world that you have like these three networks TV that they have been living forever in there, you throw someone that doesn't have a chance of surviving unless they go crazy with doing something like so out of the normal. So I think that if I was the audience there, I would feel, as you were saying, like about how significant the show felt or how important the show felt by nowadays standards, is like if I were watching it on the 70s, I would feel like scared about like, oh, that could happen. What would it tell us about our society? That is that we are just like a crazy person away from going crazy.
But we are, aren't we? I
Yeah,
mean,
we already have Trump there.
if Trump got on the air and said, everyone go to your window and say, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. If
I
we were
mean,
not in San Francisco, we would hear people shouting that out their window.
well, just think that we had for a while at 8 p.m. the people howling here. They were not clapping. Here they were howling.
For the frontline workers.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
sure, I don't know if it's exactly like one person away, but something that I would like to watch, and I know that this is not something that it should be done, but I would like to watch like a network show. I wish that they actually have done like something about like how society would change from this, or like what would be the impact of something like this guy getting killed in television. Is this going to be like impacting long term, or is actually society just move away from the mad prophet stereotype?
But isn't what the film was saying is that this mad prophet, it's a gimmick and it's not sustainable and people will consume it. And then ultimately they'll realize that it was just as empty as everything else they were consuming before the mad prophet.
Probably, probably. I mean, that's the thing. It's like I'm not completely sure. I'm not sure if it was like, okay, this is like the thing of the hour. Is that we already consuming it for 6 months and we are done. But the only reason why they moved to something else, why they stopped watching it, is because the director or whatever, like the other guy that I found like pretty hot, he tells him, you have to stop giving shit to the network. You can see anything else, but not the network.
Because that's the most important thing.
Exactly. You don't actually buy the hand that is feeding you. So from that perspective, like at that point, people started to call out that is like what you're saying is no longer honest. And it has become a bit more about like just self-loathing instead of hating other stuff. And that people don't want that. People want to hate something. So it's like, I don't know, if, for example, ABC will have found another Mark Prophet that people will be willing to follow, maybe that will continue.
Well, I think their basic supposition, I guess it's not supposition, but their the theory that they present is that the American people were super angry, and what they want at this point is not the news. They wanted a way to express their anger, and that's what Harold did.
Yep.
Which was frustratingly benign or banal, but it's 100% accurate today. And so I found everything that I was watching was presented in a very technically sound way, but I also found it boring because this is our everyday life now. And I don't know how people in the 70s in 1976, did they feel like this was a message they were already familiar with? Was it tired even then?
Well, you tell me, is that you read the New York Times review, no?
I do, but I was also born in '84, which is 8 years after this film even came out.
Sure. But I mean, like I said, you're not going to have like an opinion about that reality. That is exactly the same thing with me. That is like, I don't have an opinion about America in the 70s. I wasn't born and I wasn't living here. But I mean, that you read like some of the reviews, no? About this film.
I read the New York Times review, yes, and it basically said this movie is right on point. It's a little too realistic, or it's a little too accurate, but it's very good, is essentially what it said. But as I was telling you before we started recording, is that the New York Times review was frustratingly obtuse, like there wasn't much there, which I rely on the New York Times articles to explain things that I didn't understand, which I think I understood absolutely everything about this movie. There's nothing like deeper. It's very good at what it's saying, but it's not like there's this magical, mystical meaning behind it.
Yeah, no, it's face value. It's a face value movie. And that doesn't mean that it's better or worse. It's just face value. That doesn't leave like anything to the imagination. The only thing to the imagination is like what I want to live there. That is, is this going to be like just ending up in some kind of uprising, or changing in society? It's like probably not. We don't know, and probably doesn't matter either.
So, not to jump to the score part, but I'm super curious to hear your score and the reasoning behind it. And also, will you watch this film again, and would you recommend it?
This is the second time that I watch it, and yes, I would recommend it. I would recommend it. I think it's not. I don't think that it's a perfect film, but it's slightly above 2 hours. The time flew by watching it.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't feel like it was 2 hours and 7 minutes.
Yeah, so it's an entertaining film. I think that it actually just succeeds on the idea that it's trying to display. I think that the metaphor that you did with the frog and the boiling water is perfect about like the crescendo of intensity that it has. That is at the beginning, it feels like, I don't know, like Murphy Brown. About like, okay, yeah, this is like one of these TV dramas. And then it's like, oh, okay, but it's like, they're believable. That's the thing, is like all the
Yeah.
steps that they're giving is that they are believable. Like, yeah, that could happen. Yeah, that could happen. It's like, okay, that just happened. But if everything else just, it was realistic, maybe that could happen too. So
And
there
that's
is,
why I was blown away when they decided to plan his murder. I was like, everything is believable up until this moment. How the fuck did I get here? How did I get here?
yeah, but it's like, that's the reason what I think that the script is good. It's good. And I don't think that it actually just takes this kind of high moral perspective about like just looking down into the audience about like, I know what America is, and it's better than you think. That Aaron Sorkin loves. It's like,
The newsroom, the
yeah.
network. Just saying, he took a lot of inspiration from this movie, I think.
True, but it's that the network, I don't think that network actually tries to tell you that America is better. It actually just displays Americans in a not very favorable light.
But what the newsroom did that the network does is it finds exactly what the American people want and gives it to them. And Aaron Sorkin got that. He's like, he wants people in 2002 that had the perfect political perspective that we have in 2018, and we're going to go back and give that to like smug intellectuals that they didn't have in 2002.
Sure, but come on, is that movie actually is from the 70s and displays a reality from the 70s that it actually does. I mean, I actually compared it with Fight Club from the perspective is that the message is not that different. It's true that they actually liberate some different tools, but it's again like telling the same story about like people are discontent, but they're like too comfortable with their lives. It's like how we're going to be like just waking them up, how we're going to be like steering them, you know? Is like with Fight Club, is like with the violence and just trying to come all through hyper violence, and toxic masculinity. And this movie is actually about like, what about if their brains are already fried? Why don't we actually just make them angry? It's like I love how it progresses like with the card reader, how is it? It's not the tarot card reader. It's the clairvoyant woman.
The one who picks stocks.
Yeah, the one that they
Yeah.
talk about, like, oh, I'm going to be emotionally involved with a middle-aged, I don't know, like crazy mouse.
Oh yes.
Shoot the
No, it was the tarot
soothsayer.
card reader
Yeah,
that picked the stocks, but also has moments of clairvoyance, and she predicted Faye Dunaway would get involved with a middle-aged man.
yeah, yeah. I love how that actually starts as a joke about like, well, you're not going to be like putting that in a new show. It's like, yeah, come on, just on Fridays. It's like when they show like for the first time the new studio and they're like just rotating the plates, and she's there. It's like, holy shit, holy shit. But that's what people want.
But you know what's hilarious about that? There's a TV show about haunted celebrities. And YouTube today suggested that I watch an episode of the show about what is the name of the owner of Playboy that died?
I don't remember. The Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner. No?
Hugh Hefner. So Hugh Hefner had a reality TV show where he had 3 girlfriends, right? And one
I
of
didn't know
his
that.
girlfriends was named Kendra. And this TV show is about Kendra's haunting. And I thought, this fits into network so well because there's a clairvoyant on there trying to understand this Playboy model's haunting. And I was like, network got it too on the nose. This is
Yeah.
too accurate.
Well, the only difference that I would say, the only kind of thing that we are not there except in Fox News, is that this was the news.
Yep,
All the
that's true.
polemic
That's
is
true.
about like, look, you can do this, in any other program, but it's like, no, you guys turn the news into this kind of multimedia debacle, like this kind of orgy of sensationalism.
But also, I thought again about the Learning Channel, which growing up, I learned about the Romans and about the Egyptians and about the Syrians on this Learning Channel. And now it's rednecks hunting gators on the bayou in Louisiana. That's what the Learning Channel shows now. And when I heard Faye Dunaway talk about, we need to show unconventional programming, we need to have soothsayers, clairvoyants, it was just fucking pissing me off because it's like, yeah,
Is that?
that's where we are now.
So, I mean, from that perspective, I would say that it's extremely forward thinking. It's like TV wasn't like that.
So I understand then why, as a satire, the network is almost perfect, right?
Yeah.
But am I being unrealistic in my expectations that the satire would have a comment about where we should be going, and it didn't give me that?
So you want a high level or, like high from above kind of moralist comments about like how you have to behave? Because if that's the case, you have to watch the newsroom.
Fuck you.
Because that's how it's shocking, man.
But I think about a film like Loveless. Loveless was a perfect satire on the state of Russia today, but it also
Sure.
left me with a lot of things to think about. The network, it didn't leave me with anything to think about. It was like, yep, they were right. Real news is no longer a thing. There's no place in the world for journalists with integrity. I get that. But also, what questions did it ask as the movie ended? And I don't know that it asked any.
But but don't you have the feeling that that's not completely fair? Is that we ended up on that world. But if we had actually watched this on the 70s, probably one of the questions is like, how do we avoid going there? How do we actually just consume like better media? How do we actually
Well,
just prevent this from happening? It's like now it happened. It's like, what do we do? It's well, like really forward thinking, but it's like, I don't have more questions. Yeah, thank you so much. Is that you guys imagine this future happened.
well, that's why I asked if I'm being unrealistic. And I feel like there's something the film didn't give me that was above and beyond satire, because the satire was pitch perfect. It was 100% what the filmmakers predicted would happen, and it's 100% accurate to what we have now. But I feel like just it didn't give me something more than satire, which a comic strip can do, right?
Mm, okay. No, I mean that's fair. I don't know if the film. I mean, I think that the film, if you actually have to think about the message that it gives you, is that true? It's a satire, but it's a satire about like how television can just exploit and how could it become like extremely sensationalist. And it's like maybe there is a part of it that if you think about the 70s is that they try to warn about that happening and just trying to educate. Maybe it was like an Aaron Sorkin's like kind of idea. In that time, it's like we didn't live on that time. But it's like when you actually compare with the rest of the shows that they mentioned, it's like everything feels so white and family friendly. That is like what they're doing is like it's not like just a tiny bit worse. It's that they actually have a program that is about terrorists committing crime.
And basically the network funding that terrorist
Yep.
activity and buying their footage, which it was really interesting to see that the first terrorist footage that was of interest to the network was something filmed live, which is something we see all the time now. Like
Yeah.
everybody does that. It reminded me of all the killing of black people recently.
Yeah.
Like it was, like I said, I mean, it's amazing satire and it's just pitch perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's hard right now to actually abstract ourselves when we live on that reality. And even worse, is like I was even thinking about Citizen. Is that yeah, probably they wouldn't have used the recording that those guys made of themselves. Probably they would have used a recording that someone made for Citizen.
And you're referring to the app that basically like instills fear into the heart of everyone by letting you know
But the
crime
funny thing
very
is like
close
when
to you.
you yeah, but when you actually when you open up and there is an incident around you, they tell you that hey, this is happening close to you. Why don't you pick up your phone and record it for us?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like from that perspective, they wouldn't even need a terrorist group. They could actually use the videos uploaded to Citizen.
Citizen is the new terrorist group.
No, I don't
That's
think that is that, but it's like it's the new UBS.
yeah, yeah.
So I just think that it's like I understand the point that you're making. I agree with you, but at the same time, I don't think that is completely fair from the perspective that we didn't live up on that point. Is that we only live up like this situation right now. When I watched it 15 years ago, it's like probably I thought about like, holy shit, yeah, we're going that way. And it's
And
like
now we're
now,
here.
and
We've
now we're here.
arrived.
We
We
arrive.
are in network.
This is our destination. Yeah. So what is your score? Who scores first?
I it was your pick, so I think I should score first. And
Go.
I don't know. I've gone anywhere from a 7 to an 8, and I think after our conversation, I'm going to give it an 8.
So I have an A2. I wrote it at the beginning of the program.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is a good movie, and I've known about this movie forever, and I've never watched it because I confused it with Hackers. I don't know why, um, but yeah, this movie was
Yeah.
like good. This is a good fucking movie, and even though it's 35 years old, no, 45 years old, right? Yeah, it's completely
Yeah.
relevant, and the performances were incredible. The script got under my nerves a little bit, but that's because Baron Sorkin. But no, I this was a great movie.
Yeah. And the funny thing, something that you mentioned right now about the script again, something that I love that I forgot to mention earlier is like Howard. Howard's character looked like he's going to be the center of everything, and he's not.
No, he's the sacrificial lamb. What does
Exactly.
the network need to thrive? And they
Yep.
used him up, and then they murdered him.
Yep. Yep.
I
Is
just
that
wish that
you're
would happen with the Kardashians.
maybe one day one can only hope.
When E really needs some ratings boosts, they're just gonna kill off Kim.
Exactly. It's like, hey, you already did your part. We are done with you. No, but it's like I was like just mind blown by that. It's like I couldn't remember. I remember that he got killed at the end of the movie, but I couldn't remember if he committed suicide or they killed him. And I found fascinating how secondary he felt to the story.
And he was
Yeah,
like, he was nothing to the network with ratings, nothing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
his best friend was like, I'm gonna try and save him. Nope, I'm gonna fall
Yeah.
in love with his producer.
Exactly. With the one that is actually exploiting him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I found it like really smart. It's true that it is like pretty face value. I agree with you with that about like, yeah, there is no art. I mean, there is art from the perspective like it's well made. It actually displays a reality like pretty well. It's forward thinking. But if I think about out there cinema, I feel like there is
There's
no,
nothing.
that's not here. That's not in here. It's like if I only compare, if we go back to just talking about Sidney Lumet, if I compare it with 12 Angry Men, is that true? 12 Angry Men, I don't think there is like a lot of, I don't know, like subtlety to it. But at the
No, there's
same,
nothing subtle, and there's nothing kind of there's no like existential statement about who we are and where we're going. It's just like, here's satire about the news.
well, I mean about 12 Angry Men. I mean like in 12 Angry Men, I think
Oh,
there is like
sorry,
a bit
sorry.
more, yeah, I mean like, okay, there is nothing that is like too subtle about 12 Angry Men. It's like Henry Fonda looks at the camera about like, you guys are trying to convict this guy because you want to just move with your life instead of just thinking about like what are the consequences of your life. But like, he
But
actually
see,
spells to the camera.
the Russian remake of 12 Angry Men, which was 12,
Yeah,
the reason 12 Angry Men was so good is because when they remade that film 50 years later and used it to apply the Russian relationship with Chechnya, it's a
yeah,
perfectly timely message or timeless message. It can be
yeah,
applied anywhere.
yeah.
And that is the thing that I think Network kind of loses, is that it was a statement on where things were and where they're going and nothing more.
No,
That's it.
that's true. That's true. But I think the 12 Angry Men from that perspective, I agree with you that it's more timeless.
Yeah.
There's the kind of like if you pull 12 people in there, is like probably the mob mentality is going to be like kicking in and just showing the worst of our
Which
human
is
nature.
racism.
Yeah, racist. I
Yep.
mean, I don't remember if actually in 12 Angry Men, the kid that he was accused, I think that he was white, but he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
poor. I
So when I
think.
say 12, I think that
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. In
entire
that case, it's
statement,
racist. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I think that it's a bit more like the mob mentality that is going to be like just the wrong aspects of our mentality is going to be like just displaying and winning over people.
It's like
But
the lowest common denominator mob
exactly,
mentality. We've talked about
exactly.
this, yeah.
Yep, yeah, yeah. So, what are we watching this week?
All right, so I've been thinking all day about this. Um, I picked three films. I'm going to give you the choice. So the one that I want is called The Turin Horse,
Hmm.
by I believe he's Polish, a Polish director called Belatar,
Hmm.
and um, apparently it's awesome, but it could be super fucking brutal. And I don't want to expose you to that. So if you don't want to watch that, we can watch Gaspar Noé's pornographic film Love, or we can watch Hackers by Angelina, or with Angelina Jolie. So
She's
you just
not
tell
by
me what
Angie.
you. No,
She's
it's not.
not.
She didn't direct that. So you
No.
tell me what you're good for, and we'll watch that.
I love that you actually, and we discussed this before the podcast. But I love that you can tell me that you don't want me to expose to a very sad Polish movie called The Turing Horse, where a horse get actually just violently abused until death. But you want me to expose to hackers again. We're going to end up
Which
watching
what is the
hackers,
lesser
believe me.
evil?
We're going to end up watching hackers, but it's like, you're going to regret it. Believe me. I watched that movie. You're going to regret it.
I
Uh,
believe it.
yeah,
No Angelina Jolie movie has disappointed me. Not one. Not even
sure.
Tomb Raider 2.
Holy shit, man, your bar is really low. Did you ever watch Gaspar Noé's Love? Love?
No, and I don't love Gaspar Noé. I have a love-hate relationship with
Yeah,
how much he punches me in the stomach when I watch his movies.
yeah. So
So
I was climbing out like some months ago, and I told you like I really want to watch more Gaspar Noé's movies because I'm not sure if I like him or I
yeah,
only
me
respect
neither.
what he did.
I
I'm not
have no
sure.
idea. I
It's
have
a,
no idea if I liked him or not.
yeah, I don't know if it's an abusive relationship. If it's a bit more like, okay, you already won me over, just abuse. Or it's a bit more like, no, you have a talent here.
Or
You
is it
know?
like Michael Haneke? Like I'm willing to have the shit kicked out of me because this is art.
Yeah, we agree on that. It's like I'm not sure if Gaspar Noes can get to the Haneke's level, or he's like you're going for like the easy kick.
Right.
Like the easy like okay, this is going to be like pretty gratifying because it's violent, it's like visually appealing, or there is like some kind of additional message. So we discussed that I have actually Gaspar Noes love on my Netflix queue. So this time we can watch the Turing Horse,
All
but
right.
next time we will watch Love because I really want to watch that movie. And
Well,
if
I would
you
like to
want to go with
apologize in
hackers,
advance for the
yeah,
Turin horse because I think it's going to be a nightmare
it's going to be 2 hours and a half of violence against the
of a
horse.
horse being beaten to death that makes Nietzsche go insane because he saw it. So,
Okay, man, this was great. I mean, I'm pretty happy that you like it. And actually, the movie, my younger self, 15 years ago, was right about this movie. This is good.
25-year-old Jose had some taste.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This and the servant. I'm surprised. I was smart back then. I don't know what went wrong.
So we both gave it an 8, right?
Yeah, we both give it an
It's
eight.
a rare time we agree on something. So,
Yeah, especially with a high score. I think that we agreed around, like the room and stuff like that is like so low that it doesn't matter. Okay, man. Well, see you next time. This was great.
yeah, same. Wash your hands.
Yeah, bye.